All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the BB Brains. We just experienced a actual good week of Big Brother with a successful HOH for once. And not only are we having a crazy week for Big Brother, we're also having a special guest tonight from our network of Tribal Council Chat. We have Brett joining us this
Hi,
fine
everyone.
episode.
Great to be here. Thanks for the invite, Kyle.
Glad to have you on. And also just glad to have people in the network watching this show for the first time, trying to see what the difference is from this and Survivor, and just enjoying all the good and exceptional content that Big Brother brings.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the show's called the BB Brains. That's definitely going to be your title for the show. I'm brand new at Big Brother this season, but it's been very entertaining. I really like this cast too.
It's been a pretty good season, and this cast is definitely up the walls. And it's going to be very interesting because you're watching more from the casual standpoint, whereas I'm
Yeah,
watching like from both casual and live feeds. So it's like
exactly.
definitely going to be some interesting opinions here on the edit. It's going to be interesting opinions on some of these people because I'm going to be knowing a lot more than you are, and I'm definitely wanting to see what your take is because it's definitely going to have some
I was
interesting
just going to
points.
throw that in just in case there's anything I say that doesn't make a ton of sense before we start. I am in Canada, not the US, so live feed access is much more challenging up here.
Yeah.
I have not seen very much being on this side of the border, but therefore, basically, I'm coming at this from the perspective of what we actually see in the episodes. I know you're probably watching all the time.
Pretty much, and at the very least, like for the Canadian standpoint, it's like at the very least, Big Brother US is not like Big Brother Canada (RIP), where it's like they no longer do the live feeds, and that
Yeah,
led to their eventual downfall, as my personal opinion. Um, but yeah, let's go over this. So we're going to be talking about what happened this week in Big Brother, both on the episodes, what happened on the live feeds that didn't make the edit, and some of the crazy stuff that happened today, even on the live feeds, that had me
yeah.
very nervous going into tonight's episode. So let's start from the top here. We're following after Jimmy's eviction on Sunday night's episode. We're seeing all the
Which
fallout
was
of
huge
it.
in its own right. I was surprised to see such a big personality and Jimmy go home that early.
It was wild, honestly. And again,
Yeah,
the theme of this season that Ava thankfully broke was like, yeah, let's nominate one of our allies.
yeah.
And it's just like this entire week has been Mickey both justifying and regretting her actions. And it's just been so annoying with her. Like she has gone from like probably one of the most people I've like been most respecting this game to like bottom of my like
Mm,
list. She is they're not giving much of what they only showed like a little glimpse of what we're dealing with Mickey right now on the live
yeah.
feeds, as some are calling it the Micktatorship. It is very
Which
much
came
like,
up tonight.
yep. And it's like we only got a snippet of it, but this week, if you're a live feed watcher, you're just like pulling your hair out every time Mickey is on the live feeds, especially last night. Like I will never look at M&Ms the same way again. I'll let you know about that when we get to that
Yeah,
later.
please do.
But yeah, it's before we had like following after the eviction, we saw Mickey justifying what she was doing, which again, not the best move. She took out an ally. She should have taken her shot at Vince or someone else, but Morgan pretty much was all up over her HOH and basically had her like convinced like, nope, Jimmy's got to go. And um, it showed that showed parts of like that eviction night too, like Rachel trying for the vote, scrambling with everyone, but everyone's just like not caving. Aside from Ashley, and this was a first for Big Brother history, might I add. No one has ever cast their vote and then we're like panicking, like, oh, I messed up. Run back to the diary room to change their vote. And the the best Survivor example I could really think of this was Calderon
Aubrey.
with Aubrey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've kind of annoyed some friends that I know that are big Big Brother fans, but I'm like, the whole time I'm watching, it's taking me back to like the first episode of Ted Lasso, where he was comparing British football clubs to NFL teams, and I'm like, I have a survivor or challenge example for everybody at this point.
And I feel like that's what we're going to be doing a lot of tonight, which
Yeah.
honestly, if you're a big fan of Survivor, this is going to be the episode for you as well. You're a Big Brother fan. um, yeah, and then following after that,
But
Ashley.
hey, it's great to have like what you're doing on our network and getting people like Bruce and I into the show who have never seen it before. So
And I'm so happy you guys are enjoying it because
yeah, we
these
are.
past few seasons have been really good. I'm just glad you started on this one that's starting off
Mm,
very strong right now, rather than something like a 25 or a 22 or 21, for
mm,
example. Like some of those 20 seasons are iffy at best on occasions, but
yeah.
this has still been a very strong start to the season. This cast, Bruce has been telling me to me like this constantly, and honestly, I'm kind of agreeing with them. This cast is very Gabon like coded.
Yeah.
Like it is very chaotic. Everyone is playing against their best interests. It's like I mean, what tonight was Zach alone. It's just like oh, we basically had an example of someone walking out with an idol in their pocket. It was
That's
just
exactly it.
it's just
Only
like
difference is on the other show I podcast on, you don't get 10 grand at the end. So I mean,
yeah,
I'm sure Zach can have a nice vacation and he was
right.
on the show.
Yeah, he's gonna be wiping away his tears with his $10,000 or
Yeah.
7,500 after taxes, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it is just. Whew. And actually, Zach was like one of the people I have on my draft team for this season. This is like my first hit I've had on my draft team.
Ooh.
So, I mean, you know what?
I mean, 17, 5 in, that's not bad.
Yeah, honestly, I can't complain. And I mean, one of the other options was Keanu. So it's like likely I'm like, well, I'm probably gonna lose a member tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, following after the Jimmy boot, we got like Vince, Keanu, and Riley celebrating like Jimmy's departure, and Rachel and Keanu talking about everything that happened with Rachel breaking down, Keanu consoling her, but really just say like that he does care for Rachel, and Keanu and Rachel are like such a interesting dynamic. They are very
Yes.
hot and cold together, and I really like. I was very aversive to Keanu at first because watching him on the live feeds, the edit's giving him such good grace because Keanu on the live feeds and Keanu on the edit, two different people, two very
Interesting.
yeah. Like the Keanu on the live feeds is very chaotic. Will run his mouth to everyone. Will run to Vince with any information.
So that explains why he's constantly going up.
Yeah, he just like he does not rub well with a lot of people, and him and Rachel have such like a hot and cold relationship, like a brother sister kind of relationship, and it's just that I feel like he does care for her, but I feel like he lives in another reality of what he assumes is what is happening in the game, and
Mm.
today's events like leading up to eviction is definitely a good telling of that, and I think Rachel really, I think, really helped him to stay in the game today because some stuff went down. um, but yeah, and then there was a lot of conversations regarding the second vote that was cast, and Ashley was deflecting hardcore on this. She
Yes,
was
she
like,
was.
"Nope, not me. Nope, I didn't do it. Nope, nope, nope." And kudos to Will. He has not told a single soul of this at all.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, Will to me is probably someone that has probably one of the better social standings in the house. And I think
Agreed.
he's building every week. And his closest bonds right now are 100% to Ashley, Ava, and I say to some extent, Mickey and Rachel. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like those are his closest allies right now. And even with Ashley, she's only told one person that it was her, and it was Rachel. It didn't make the edit, but Rachel is aware that Ashley was that other vote, and a lot of people in the house are kind of assuming that it's Ashley, but it's pretty much been swept under the rug because later in the episode we have our HOH competition, and the person that everyone was not expecting to win won. But before that, we also had that fun little segment about Ava talking about her boyfriend and how she's like a soldier at war. And this is a common thing, Brett. Like like you're seeing throughout the season. There's like really random segments throughout the show about just like very off-topic stuff, like just switching
Yeah.
from like serious to non-serious. And this was one of those cases.
Yeah, that was entertaining.
Yeah. Ava, to me, I think is probably like one of the most entertaining players of this house. Like they always get a lot of her good moments on the show, which I'm very
Oh, they
happy
do.
about. And she's
Speaking
just
of my comparisons, it was like I was telling somebody else tonight. Ava is reminding me of like Gabby, but take it up a few levels.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so then will be her Christian. I feel like I see there are some comparisons for the two of them there. It,
Yeah.
I what I love about Ava and Will about their relationship, a lot of people said it best. It's like when you have like the young person at work and the old person at work just being best friends. That is
Yeah.
what I see them as, and I
Yeah,
think
exactly.
it's just working so well because like it didn't make it to the show. They showed like little clips of it, but like didn't mention it. When Ava won her HOH, her HOH basket had a bottle of wine in it, and that entire night, her and Will just shared it together, and they got wasted together, just talking mad smack about everyone. It was hilarious to watch. It was so
That's
entertaining.
funny.
But following after that Ava segment, we get a iconic Big Brother competition, the knockout comp,
Yeah.
and it was done in a way that is a little cringing in a way. Figuring out the dip villain guy, how much he's dipped into what. Um, a lot of people were aware of this competition going into that from the live feeds, and it just to give you a little bit of history on Rachel. One of Rachel's biggest moments on the show was from a knockout comp where she
Mm.
won that HOH, where she was able to get herself and her now husband Brendan to jury.
Oh wow.
And this moment was basically like part of what everyone remembers Rachel as, where she calls out one of the contestants, Kristen, and basically butchers what the term floater is in baby history forward, where it's like floaters grab a life vest, Kristen, and they have like a whole fight in front of everyone, and like the theme of that competition was like also in like a ring, like an actual boxing ring. So everyone's just like making all these like boxing fight stuff and everything, and it was just iconic. It was like again one of Rachel's most well-known like moments from her first season, which fun fact is from what Hayden from Big Brother Blood from Survivor Blood versus Water appeared on and won.
Mm.
So it's very interesting, we have like the Survivor connection with him and
Yeah.
having Rachel being like a big factor in that.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, so the competition is very simple. Two people go up to a podium. One like guesses correctly, they knock the other person out, or if they guess incorrectly, they are out. Whoever wins chooses the next two people to compete. Any thoughts on that, like comp style?
Yeah, I really like that. Um, Especially just with that adding the level of strategy into it and not just what happens in the competition.
Yeah, like obviously, like the first few rounds is just like I'll volunteer,
Yeah.
and like if they had the competition during a live vote, it was just like Julie would not be having it. It's like someone choose right now. No, no, no. We're doing this fast.
Yeah.
So starting off the competition, we had Riley versus Lauren. Riley wins and asked for volunteers, and I'm just like Riley, dude. So essentially, gets Zach and Kelly to compete, and where Zach then wins, and for some reason picks Morgan and Will, where Morgan, rightfully so, said, "Why are you picking your allies? This is the
Yeah.
competition to choose people who you don't want to win to go at each other."
Exactly. You just have to kind of understand that the point at early on in the challenge is to see who's not going to win, not try to get people further in the game.
This is just like the first mistake Zach
Yeah.
made this week, leading to his downfall. And it's also a really good competition too because it really shows you the pecking order of who's playing the game very well socially,
Mhm.
and basically once we get like through all the rounds, we end up with essentially Ava versus Will, with Will potentially throwing the cup. We still don't have any idea if he threw it or just like he just guessed and hope for the best. The two talked later that night about it, and they were just like, I didn't really care who won. It was just like,
Yeah.
whatever. But Lord and behold, the person that won HOH for this week and has probably the most successful HOH of the season so
Oh,
far
she definitely.
is Ava.
Yeah. No question, most successful.
And it's so wild because like when you look at this cast, like it is a cast of gamers.
Yeah.
Fact of the matter is like the person who actually did the most is the person who technically does the least. Because literally on the live feeds, Ava is like essentially like asleep 18 hours of the day, it feels like. She is just in her bed and just like wanting to just be away from the whole house.
That's
And
funny.
And when we immediately get into the house after the competition, Ava's just telling everyone, yeah, no one on ones. I'm just going to relax. And to Jimmy's dismay, not Vinny's dismay, where we get to see this entire week of Eeyore Vinny, as I would like to call him, is the basic epitome of victim mentality.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just everything.
Especially when we get into the veto and then tonight.
Oh my god. Yeah, Vinny is like a player from Big Brother that has probably one of the most successful runs, if I would say. Her name is Nicole Franzel, and her
Yeah.
whole thing is about victim mentality. She made it far into 16, where she was like somewhat of a boot, came back, got booted later, but had enough
I know
popularity.
I've heard that name from somewhere.
She competed on the Amazing Race season that had Big Brother
That would make
Survivor
sense.
players, so you might have
Yeah,
seen it there.
definitely.
Where her and Rachel actually had a few fights in that cast, and had Rachel again had another famous one-liner where she told Nicole, "Nicole, just remember your brand is watching."
Well, I mean, not as many as my team would do in that season. I was started the season cheering for Eliza, so she and Rachel hated each other.
I know Eliza and Corinne. I was rooting for them too, but I was
Yeah.
more so rooting for Rachel and Alyssa. They did not pick the best Survivor players for that season. It was
No.
but again, when you have like a season where it's like, yeah, home turf, Amazing Race players versus Big Brother and Survivor players,
Yeah.
but yeah, we have essentially, but yeah, as I was saying, with Nicole Franzel, like she did well in her first season, won her second season, won a spin-off show, and got third place in the second All-Star season. But her mentality is very victim-y, very like
Mm.
just like woe is me, always like that in the diary room, but actually playing a very strong strategic game. And that is what I see Vince as. He is
Yeah.
very well incorporated into the house. And even tonight's vote, I like watching the live feeds and everything. Everything went down last night. I thought it was going to be a tie vote tonight. I thought it was going to
Yeah.
be 5 people for Vince, 5 people for Zach. But the fact of the matter is that so many people flipped over to vote Zach. I'm like, there's something Vince is doing that, whether it's the woe is me routine or something else, that is having people pity him or like
Yeah.
him enough to keep him. And I feel like Rachel is very onto that, and so is Will. So I mean, I
Or
feel like
if of the two of them, maybe because of that, he could just be easier to beat.
there is that.
Yeah.
Um, it's just that I'm concerned going forward with this week because this is like a season where you would think there would be alliances. There's none.
Yeah.
Everything is very much a voting block. Everything is just very lucid. There's no like really grandiose alliances. Usually we have like a big alliance at some point in the season. That has not happened at all.
No.
It's like a real first, I feel.
Which is like, it's a great season, like we said, to get into the show on, but it also makes it a harder season for me to figure out what's going on when things change so quickly.
Yeah. And it makes like the voting all the more crazier because again, with how tonight was, it's like, well, I don't see this going the way that it was supposed to, but I'm happy with the outcome regardless.
Yeah.
But following after Ava like making her rules and stuff, and Vince freaking out on that, we get like Ava like quickly talking to Rachel, saying, "You're good this week. Do your social stuff. Just relax." And then Ava then going to Zach and also telling him, "Hey, you're safe." And then, funnily enough, getting a conversation between Ava and Mickey, where she's laying out her nominee targets, where it's Vince, um, Keanu, which we kind of expected with how the veto competition happened last week, and surprisingly, Ashley. Now, on the live feeds, Ava has been very vocal about not trusting Ashley as much. But Will has basically told her and basically convinced her that you may not trust Ashley, but she is still a number for us. So I'm very interested to see where this whole conversation came from between her and Mickey about her initially wanting to nom Ashley, but then changing it to Zach. Like
Yeah, that will be
there was like a bit of a
interesting moving
disconnect.
forward.
Yeah. And that this truck is still happening. Like Ava still does not trust Ashley. She still like is willing to work with her short term, but not in the long term. And again, I that's why I feel like I respect Ava as a player compared to some other people because she is understanding the difference between like short term gameplay and long term gameplay without making it very personal. And some of this cast really needs a lesson on
Yeah.
that. um, And after that game talk, we get the quintessential showman segment between Riley and Kat.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on these two?
Um, they are and were like even before the showman started, two of my favorite players in the season for the first couple episodes.
Okay.
So that's fun to watch. I don't think it's great strategy at this
Mhm.
point. Maybe coming from my survivor perspective, where that just seems to get people out of the game, as opposed to say if I was to use my challenge perspective, where obviously a showman's is a lot more common.
Mhm.
But no, for at least so far, I think the two of them are playing really well together, and we'll see what comes out of this relationship moving forward.
So, spoiler alert: this relationship is not going to last outside this game. I'm
Oh
just going to
yeah,
say that right
I
now.
could have figured that out.
So, basically, from the
But
feed
game wise,
standpoint, yeah, basically, so from the feed standpoint, there's a few things that this edit is very leaving out. One
okay,
is how disconnected the two are. Riley is very love bombing and
yeah,
very much like talking over her a lot of the times,
mm,
and a lot of the times just not really asking what she's into.
makes
He
sense.
likes the idea of Kat and who he thinks is in his mind, whereas Kat is just very much like, I get where you're coming from. I feel like you're a good ally. And it's just like it's like a little awkward at times because he's like asking her to be in bed with him where she keeps pushing him away, she keeps offering to kiss her where she keeps pushing him away, and it just came to a
Which
later
both of
point.
those is definitely smart from her perspective in this game.
Yeah, and it basically comes to a standstill where later this week the two basically embrace, start kissing, and are now actively more and often kissing. I think that because we're like a month or so into this game, I think this is just becoming a little bit of Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
Um, like a lot of Kat's family online are disapproving of this. They do
Mm,
not like Riley. They do not respect him. Some of the things Riley says, I know will not make the show. Is basically him like saying like I'm going to be in your life whether you like it or not.
oh God.
Yeah, he's like he says a lot of things that are questionable. Even like the DR has even told him a few times to hold on off that. Um,
Yeah.
it's just the big issue is that Big Brother, as good of a strategic show it is, they always try to push every season some kind of romance plot. Like even
Mm,
in the beginning parts of the season, they were kind of showing about like the weird love triangle thing between Zach, Lauren, and Morgan.
yeah.
And the Morgan and Zach stuff, particularly this week, really was like like really like Morgan trying to make something thing with her bond with Zach, because there was like a lot of stuff Morgan was doing this week that's just like, okay, we get you like Zach, but Zach does not like you in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like this every season. And Caleb from Calron was in that same shoes as Riley
Mm.
with Amber from the
Yeah.
challenge. And it's just kind of the same thing. The guy obsessing over a girl that's not into him. It was very creepy. Granted, Caleb I think was a little worse than Riley because Caleb was actually kissing Amber in her sleep.
Oh God.
Yeah. So weird stuff.
Yeah.
At the very least, Riley wasn't doing that, so that's good at least. But there's still a lot of problems with him that I'm not a fan of, and a lot of people who watch the feeds are not a fan of. So just bear in mind whenever we see a Riley Cat segment, just there's a lot more going down.
Going on that CBS
Yeah,
isn't gonna broadcast on the real show.
yeah. They just like they want to give us their showman segments. They want someone like they want their next Brendan and Rachel, like
Yeah.
fell in love in the Big Brother house, got married, have kids, and funnily enough, I feel like the Big Brother house has more successful relationships than The Bachelor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because so many people have fallen in love in that Big Brother house and are still married to this day, and which is just wild to say the least.
That's funny.
But after we get that awkward like segment with Riley and Kat, we
Sounds
get
more successful than the challenge too.
I would say so, yeah. A lot less alcohol to work off those relationships too in that house.
Yeah.
They get some alcohol on occasions, but it's not as bad as like I've seen on a challenge or a few times that I have watched. They're not partying up like there. Granted, speaking of which, go America and Blue. I know, and Cedric, since they're from Big Brother, as well as Dee and
Sydney.
Sydney. Yep. Well, I'm not a big Sydney fan. Some of the stuff.
Good thing you're not on our survival podcast.
And so she said some questionable stuff online, and I'm just like, but
I guess depends who you are. I'm a big fan of hers.
I mean, I was a fan of her initially on her Survivor season, but then like after a season, then it's like, okay, no, you could go to the side. But yeah, we after like we get the Riley and Kat segment, we basically have Vince like going up to Rachel and Will and not Ava, basically campaigning to have them convince Ava not to nominate him, where both of them basically read him for filth, and it's just crybaby act. It's so sad to watch him try this, especially when him and Rachel have been batting heads since day one. And Vince, every time he tries to talk to her and every time he talks to Keanu, he just like, I don't get why we don't get along. Why are you against me? Blah blah. I'm like, Vince, like you chose your stance with Zay to go against her ally Amy, and then since then it's just been downhill, and it's just like he just keeps on doing the woe is me act, and it's just like, come on, dude, like you made your bed in this, and just when it like if you haven't noticed, if you piss off Rachel, you are going to have her ire forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, Rachel is such a fun character, which I love because even though you could piss her off and she will be mad at you forever, if you are her ally, she will be loyal to you to the very end. And she is someone that is like, what you see is what you get. And that's why I have respect about her and what I think so many people have loved about her throughout the show's history. And then why she's been asked on so many other shows. That's why she's been on Amazing Race 3 times, why she was on The Traitors, why she was on Stake in the Grass, and likely other future projects, probably.
I'm sure.
And actually, I do want to ask, what are your thoughts on Rachel as a player?
Definitely it's unique to see Rachel play because she obviously really knows this game, and she's playing with such experience on this show and on other shows, and it's everyone else's first time with cameras looking around. So that's really neat to see the dynamic of. I think she's extremely entertaining on TV. I don't know what I'm going to think from her game so far. I think she'll still at least be in the game for a bit. I don't know if with her experience you necessarily want. I don't agree with what she said at the beginning about like anyone will want to take me to the end because they won't win or they'll win. I don't know about that. I wouldn't want to sit next to Rachel in the final two.
which is a fair fact.
Yeah.
And that whole fight, once we get to the veto episode, there was a lot like leading up to that than just like those two segments that was showing that whole thing there,
Mm.
because that was like a whole lot of pent up stuff leading with that. Um, but yeah, in the show's history, we have had some people return like as a single returnee to a full cast season. And we had people had like four people come in for a whole cast season. And for some of those, we've had the returnee make it to the end, but they have lost both of those
Mm.
times. One of
Makes
which
sense.
one of which was Ian from Big Brother 14. He is on the next upcoming season of The Traders. He
Mm.
won against Dan Giesling, who was on The Traders season 2.
Yeah.
And then the other is Paul Abraham,
That
who
Bruce and I always laugh about Dan because we went in hearing so many people we know that are huge Big Brother fans talk about how great of a player Dan is. And
yeah.
that was a bit of a letdown as two Publicity fans.
Yeah, it was a bit of a letdown seeing him the way that he was, but I will always love him for taking out
Oh,
bananas
absolutely.
for the first boot. So
Yeah,
he's still got my love there.
that I
But
definitely love. I read his book, even not knowing Big Brother, before I started auditioning for Survivor.
yeah,
Really useful.
he is by far like one of the more brilliant people. I would have him in my
Yeah,
top 4 Mount Rushmore players. He's like very much knows how to like get into the game and how to play it.
nice.
Uh, Obviously did not read well into the traders, and I feel like the traders and Big Brother doesn't mix well. I fear
No,
Survivor and traders a lot better, I'd say.
yeah,
um but then the other person that like came in, made it to the end and lost is Paul Abraham, who's going to be on the upcoming season of House of Villains.
mm,
And he lost to Josh Martinez, as you know from the challenge.
yeah.
um you know
Who those of us that are challenge fans just sit around and go, "How did Josh win a reality show?"
the best way to
Because
describe
on the
it
challenge, he's complete chaos.
the best way to describe it, Paul Abraham is the Big Brother version of Russell Hands.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so even the worst people were going to win up against him.
That makes perfect sense now.
Mm-hmm. um
Also
but yeah,
makes sense why Paul would be someone that would get picked to be on the Traders.
well, House of Villains, but I
Oh,
honestly
House of Villains. That makes more
Paul,
sense.
Paul and House of Villains would also be interesting. I'm not a fan of them, but they do give TV. I will say
Yeah.
that. But yeah, for that episode, we basically get our nominations. Ava nominates Vince, Keanu, and Zach. Zach very unhappy with how that all turned out, and just like it says, "I'm going to use my power at all means," and it's like, okay, okay. And might I say, this like the whole fandom leading up to the veto ceremony was wild. Everyone's on the speculations like, oh, if Zach uses power on himself and if like Catherine was to use like the veto or something onto Zach or Vince, then the other could use the other on the other. And then Ava would have to put up 2 people on the block, which was likely going to be Morgan as the first one and
Yeah.
then Lauren as the second from
Yeah.
what it looked like. Which,
Exactly.
yeah, all that hype and build up for just nothing. But yeah, looking over my
Though which
notes,
probably works in the interest of, I mean, other than Zach, works in the interest of most other players moving forward anyway. So,
yeah, and Zach, oh my god, Zach after the nominations, they didn't show it much in the episode. They showed like little snippets in like the video episode, but he was really going on a tangent about Ava. He was really ripping into her hardcore. Him and Vince, honestly, they were going off the notion like Ava doesn't deserve to be here. She's a floater. She's making the safe move. Blah blah blah. It's just Riley, Vince, and Zach were really much talking mad trash about Ava and saying like she's a horrible player and everything. When really,
yet she has the only successful HOH pretty much so
yeah,
far.
and literally made like actual big moves for her HOH. I'm going to have to discredit her for some of the stuff that she did.
Yeah.
Yeah, like not doing one-on-ones and not solidifying alliances or whatever. But she did have an intended goal for the week, which she accomplished. So, compared to everyone else that played in that HOH comp and won, she's done more than them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like looking over my notes here. Yep, but then nothing too special to go into. So going to the veto episode that aired yesterday, one of the things that was shown, and I'm so glad that it made it to the edit, was the part of Ava's nomination speech about Vinny. And everything was leading up to it. She was like hype talking about it to Rachel. She was hyping her up, like this is gonna be the best speech ever. And like after it showed on the feeds, like Rachel was like telling her that was amazing, that was iconic, and we're just like, oh, can't wait to see it. And then on Sunday's episode, not seeing it, we're like, wait a minute, you're not gonna show us? And then thankfully we had like a fun little rewind of Ava just like calling out Vinny. Vinny, you are Vinny the Lip. What's your last name again?
That was great.
I was like, yes. I'm like, I'm so happy that I made the edit. I'm just like, it was like perfect. Like, I was not expecting it at all. And it was just like perfect comedic timing. Like, I'm not a fan of some of the edit that they're doing this season, but they have some good moments. And this episode, I think, was probably one of the funniest of the season so far because of just everything that went down in that episode. Because like following after that, and it was hilarious to watch in the live feeds. Ava talking to Zach in the HOH room why she nominated him, with Will listening in from the bathroom next to the door.
I saw that clip online. That was so funny.
Him just waving at the camera, walking out of the bathroom. I'm like, oh my god. And Will just saying, like, please don't go to the bathroom, Zach. Please don't go to the bathroom. Like, and this is like old school Big Brother. A lot of times people have done that, had hiding just to like listen in on certain conversations, and it was just like a peak old school with that. And with Ava then asking Will, like, did I handle that well? Did everything go good? And they're like, he's like, yeah, you did awesome. It's like, don't have to worry. I was like, oh my god, it was hilarious to watch on the live feeds. It was just perfection. Um, and then we got more conversations between like Mickey, Morgan, and Vince about the nominations. Morgan obviously not being happy with Mickey for the nods because she felt Mickey was the one that influenced this, which let's be real here, she definitely did.
Yep.
And throughout this week is what's starting the Mictatorship. Her really starting to push her agendas, really starting to really like push in on people. And
Yep.
it's like, okay, Mickey, I think you're doing a little too much here. Okay, Mickey, I think you're getting your point across. Okay, Mickey, I think you're really getting your point across here.
So I guess you answered that, but that was one of the things I was going to bring up to you is from your experience, is this a bit too early to try to take control that way?
It very much is.
Okay.
And
Because that's what I was thinking, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't off with my lack of history with the show.
like you can push like for your game to do well. You can actually push like for moves. Like with the Adrian boot a few weeks ago, Ava made probably one of the best moves that week because Zach and Vinny were really trying to strong arm her to flip, where she basically told them what was going down, why she's not doing it, and why they shouldn't. And it basically just stopped them from doing that flip and basically voted out Adrian. It's like
Hmm.
little things like that, little conversations that can make the difference. Whereas you're like really trying to push an agenda can put you right on the block.
Makes
And
sense.
Mickey, with what she's been doing this week, I would not be surprised if she's on the block next week, next to
Yeah.
Morgan. And it's just really much of like a term that's been used in Big Brother, HOH-itis, where if you're the HOH, you just go on a full on power trip and
Yeah.
it could just ruin your whole game. And Mickey's HOH-itis has extended into this week because ooh,
I
it's
mean,
just
that even pretty much happened to Jimmy in the first week, and look where he is now.
Everyone that's been at HOH has been just going on a power trip this season,
Yeah.
aside from like Lauren, who's just been crashing. Which, ironically enough, is kind of one of the more safest people
Yeah.
when you think about it. Because like if I had to like had a rank like who was like had the best HOHs, like Ava's on the top. Surprisingly, Lauren after
Yeah.
that,
I'd agree.
which is so wild. But this is what the cast we're dealing with this season is. But yeah, after that, we get like a conversation between Morgan, Vince, and Zach. Zach questioning Mickey's loyalty. Morgan thinking she's a Rena potential, which is correct. Morgan also just spiraling, where just like the entire day before the veto players were picked, she was just like going to so many people, telling them like, "Well, I want to do this. I want to do this. Please pick me so I can save this, and this," and just like Morgan, you're doing so much here, which is what led to people telling Ava that, hey, Morgan's doing this, and this to want to take off your nominees, which is really got on Ava's shit list big time. Uh, like they showed some of it on the show, but she was really trying to fight to save Zach and Vinny this week on a level that she just should not have. And it was kind of embarrassing to say the least. Um, da, 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 just trying to look here. Oh yeah, and then we had like the this like nice little conversation between Keanu and Ava, basically telling each other like, I get why I nominated you. I'm like water on the bridge. I truly do believe Keanu does forgive Ava because
Yeah.
right now he has his targets set on other people at the moment that have
Yeah.
more of a threat level than her. And I think a lot of people in the house, or at least some people, are aware Ava's not really going to go anywhere at the moment.
Right.
Like, I don't think anyone's really in a good position sitting next to Ava on the block.
Yeah. Exactly.
So even though like Keanu's like saying like, "Oh, I'll forgive, but I won't forget," I'm like, "Yeah, but that's going to be a later down the line you problem rather than a now."
Yeah.
um, and then after that, we see more conversations between Mickey and Ava, where Mickey tells Ava everything about what Morgan's been doing, and it I feel like the edit is kind of showing some revisionist history on Morgan's end from her diary rooms
Mhm.
because it was very much her basically throwing Morgan under the bus. Like it was
Yeah.
just like her doing everything to tell to Ava, and then when Ava tells her, "Okay, well she'll be the renom," and then we get cut to DR with her saying like, "Wait, I don't want to intend that." I'm like, "Then what were you intending, Mickey?"
Yeah. Exactly.
It's just like it's there's no way Mickey is doing this for the sake of mess. It's just like Mickey and Morgan have had like very tumultuous relationship. And after the Jimmy boot, those first few days, Mickey was very much like, "Oh, I think Morgan screwed me over. Oh, I think I should need to take Morgan out now." And it was like kind of a lot of that
Yeah.
before the veto competition and everything. And it just basically was now like who knows that like when like Mickey had that diary room session, but it's just like a lot of revisionist history on her end. Like I did not intend to target Morgan per se. I just wanted to tell Ava of what she was saying because reasons. And then we get the Vince sulking montage with him with Keanu, and it's just like, woe is me, why am I on the block? And Keanu's like, well, we're on the block, we gotta just take ourselves off.
And if anybody who will feel sorry for you for being on the block too much, Keanu is not it this season. Nor Kelly.
Yeah, and again, I want to like Keanu so much. He is very close to Vince, but Vince is his kryptonite
Yeah.
because even though Keanu sees Vince as his number one, Vince is like, "Oh, Keanu, who? Oh, that guy's just beside me on occasion." He is like ready to throw him to the side. Had Keanu been on the block tonight, he would have 100% gone home.
Yeah.
And it's just like irritating with some of the stuff that he's been doing this week.
And I mean, had he been there, you also just have to ask the obvious question of if Keanu is going to lose a comp at some point, he's might not lose another one.
Right. And with the big player blockbuster competition, we are probably nearing its end.
Mm.
Last season, it went all the way till the starting point of jury. So we had like I want to say it was 7 evictions prior to that. So we're drawing near that point. Granted, this is a 17-person cast, whereas last season was 16. So we might have a few more weeks of that blockbuster comp. And once that comp ends and Keanu's still in the game, there is a likely chance this guy is going to be a backdoor nom. Whereas, like, the term is where if the HOH nominates 2 people as pawns, the veto competition does not have that person in there. Whoever wins it uses it, and then the person that they want to intend to target is backdoored and is
Yeah,
immediately like the target for that week.
exactly.
And I 100% Keanu and even Kelly in that spot.
Makes sense.
So after that, we get the veto players picked. We get Catherine and Will picked. You know, happy to see Catherine having edits.
Yeah.
She's like her and Lauren have probably been the most invisible this season. Every season there's like a house plant. People call them the furniture, if you will, whatever. It's like because you got so many people in the cast, like some are going to just fall through the cracks on occasion.
Yeah.
And this season,
Especially at least until you get the cast down from like 17 to 11, 12.
exactly.
You'll probably start to see a bit more equal of an edit moving into like the final 10, but
You would think, but certain scenes of Big Brothers,
fair enough.
I would say more so maybe like final 7.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, we got the players picked. Mickey and Ava talk, and Ava's like saying like Morgan will be the renom. Mickey keeps backtracking on this. And then we have Ava then talking to the camera where she wants Morgan out badly. Like I think at this time, I think Ava sees Morgan as now her enemy number one following after
Yeah.
this week. Um, and then we go to the power veto competition where we get probably some of our best moments going later to this week, and it is a very iconic comp from the Big Brother series, the Yankee Swamp comp, where they're doing a competition of sorts, and whenever you're out, you get a prize, and whoever gets out ahead of you can switch.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this type of comp?
Basically, it just I was like playing the Office Christmas Party game.
Yankee
um,
Swamp.
yeah, it was really interesting to see. Always, at least what I would say, looking at the way Vince was at the end, I'm like,
Oh my god.
but even before he lost the comp when he was still playing, simple nature, you don't get that many shots at this. You have to take a high risk for a high reward.
Yep.
And he decided he was going to play halfway, and that's why Catherine won.
Yep. And this was like a really fun comp because I don't know about you, but I love the theme of this season being a murder mystery and like
Yeah,
all the comps having that sort of noir murder esque feel. And this one, them shuffleboarding onto essentially a murder scene. I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty cool. And then
it
all
was.
like having like fun detective outfits and stuff, and Kat looking like a detective Barbie essentially. Um, but yeah, the competition, Will is the first one out, and he wins the power of veto. This has always been a
For
trend.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always been
It
a
makes
trend for
sense.
this.
It's the most entertaining.
Yeah, and it's always been a trend for this competition that they would always start with the first person out to have the power of veto,
Yeah.
and so chaos always unfolds with that. And as I was expecting, I'm like waiting for like, okay, what are these fun punishments we're going to be seeing with these? Because then the second one that was out is Keanu, to everyone's surprise, and he gets a punishment called Partners in Crime, where he is then told, "Yeah, no, I'm going to switch that with the veto." Which, you know, smart move there, I'd say. I don't want to take a punishment. I'd rather have a chance at the veto. But following after that, Zach is out, and then he gets a London vacation where he trades it for Will for good favor. And to me, I always think back to Survivor All Stars when Boston Rob won the
Yeah.
family video from home and he traded that for everyone's letters. I was
Yeah,
like, just like thinking, like, okay, Zach, I get it. You don't want to have a London trip and have people eyeing you with $10,000. It's like, just I get you're saying it for good favor with Will, but let's be real here. You don't want to have that bigger of a target on yourself.
exactly.
But Will graciously takes it, and he now has a London trip with his wife in the near future.
Best city in the world.
I'm like really hope like they have a good trip. For what I've heard, like the vacation awards for Big Brother, they typically hook them up well.
Nice.
So I'm glad that he gets that. I think it's like either they get that or a cash prize, like they
Mm.
could trade that in for, from what I recall. So after that, Ava is next one out, and she gets the butler did it, which I'm like comparing what Keanu did this week to what Ava was. I'm like I cannot picture Ava in that costume.
No.
I feel like oh poor Ava the entire time.
They would have had to make it a bit smaller for her compared to Keanu.
Oh my god. I do think back to the first week where they show a segment of her throwing it back. So it's like, well, she could have had at least a little fun with that. But she definitely she traded it with Keanu for the veto because she's like, I ain't doing this. And then when it came down to Vince and Catherine for the competition, Catherine comes up on top. Vince is the last one eliminated, and he gets $5,000, which he immediately then trades it to Ava for the veto, which to me at this point, I would have been like, in Vince's stance, I'm like, it's a risk. It's like either you're chancing your chance of safety, or you at least walk away with some money.
Yeah,
And
I,
if go,
I'm with you. It didn't seem like a great move, especially knowing that Catherine is going to pick right after him.
yeah, and as part of the Yankee swap, the last item is usually always the worst too.
Yeah.
Where Catherine wins hard boiled detective, where she looks over to Vince. She looks over to Ava, and Vince is basically begging for his life.
Yeah.
I've auditioned for this show for 10 years. Catherine, please don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. And Ava in her confession was like, this is why you're Vinny the Lip. You are.
I know I just said to the TV in this exact moment last night. Um, yeah, you have. Everybody here has probably been wanting to be on the show for 10 years.
Exactly. And it's like, bro, I get it. I appreciate the hustle, but you are just not making yourself look any better
No.
by doing that. And Catherine, much to Vince's chagrin, is like, I'm going to take the veto. And part of the reason why she takes the veto, she doesn't specify too much on the show, but she was also concerned that there was a chance that her or Riley could be going up. And she didn't
Yeah,
want to break up their partnership.
exactly.
Which I feel like was the correct choice.
Oh, yeah.
Catherine having at least a victory has the power of veto, has at least some like, help for her game because she's very much just like an unknown. So at
Yeah.
least having a competition win, like at least has some like help to her like essential what's it called? Resume.
Yeah.
But yeah, so final tally for who gets what. Will walks away with a London vacation. Keanu ends up with the butler did it. Zach ends up with partners in crime, where he has to choose someone to partner up with for a challenge. Ava walks away with $5,000, where she most likely should have walked away with $15,000 this week, but Zach was greedy. Vince walks away with hard boiled detective, and Catherine walks away with the veto. And just to give you some more information on this history, there's been a lot of costume punishments in Big Brother's history, and they all stem back to this competition.
Mhm.
Where in Big Brother 8, Jen Johnson wins a unitard, a red unitard that she had to wear for an entire week. That, to everyone's annoyance, rocked. And on top of that, made such a splash that every season after that, they were going to do punishment costumes. Starting with the unitard, then leading to more elaborate costumes as time went on, with this season being no exception.
That's funny.
So fun little history there on that.
Bruce
Um,
and I may have been texting each other last night, just laughing at how ridiculous some of these moments were.
oh my god, it was hilarious. And watching this on the live feeds too is just comedy gold. Like the stuff that you saw with Keanu and Vince was only a fraction of some of
Oh
the stuff.
wow.
Like at the eviction tonight, you just see like Vince like recluse up in the egg. That was a lot of Vince this week at certain points. And even in certain periods, Vince had to wear a sleeping outfit for the egg, a different version of that outfit that just looked questionable at best.
That's great.
It, it was so good. But following after that victory, we get Riley and Kat celebrating together because, showmance, blah, blah, blah. Um, and then we have Ava and Will celebrating and trashing Vince, much expected there. Um, and Ava talking about potentially wanting to convince Kat to use the power of veto to put up Morgan. And at this time, they were really intending to maybe have that veto used for Zach, and why
Yeah.
everyone was in a panic over the weekend, thinking like, "Oh, Zach's off the block; he can use his power to take Vince off the block," and then it's whole chaos there. And from what Zach was doing this week, I don't think it was because he wanted to protect Morgan. It was more so just he did not want to give Ava the money.
Mm.
And the fact that he wanted to basically have his cake and eat it too, because he really did think he had the votes, which at certain points he did. And then just a lot of other stuff went down that just changed that.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So following after that, we get Vince's egg segment of the Egg Detective. And my God, it's just perfection. It's a horrible costume, but with all the perfect puns, I was really hoping to see him make like hard boiled eggs or egg stuff this week, like with Keanu with the hors d'oeuvres. But
Yes.
him having like the giant like magnifying glass, and apparently like the soup being that heavy had to be on like a little unicycle thing or whatever just to go around the house. Like it is a bad costume. It is hard to move around in. It's still
Yeah.
not as bad as the one that Cerie Fields had to be in a few seasons ago, where she and Felicia, who you saw a few weeks
Yeah.
ago in a veto competition, had to be in a tandem kayak together.
Oh god.
Where that week was when her son blew up her game because he
Oh.
was that horrible at it. Yeah, the apple does not fall. The apple does not fall for that family line. He is no Suri
Oh.
Fields.
Well, I mean, at least he got on the show this time, unlike his first attempt.
Yeah, I think he probably would have done better on Survivor than he would have done on Big Brother.
Fair.
And fun fact: Blue was the person he was hooking up with in the
Yeah.
house, and that was very awkward. Ugh. But yes, rough punishment for Vince. But then we get Keanu's segment being the butler did it. Him having a giant booty holding a tray for his hors d'oeuvres to serve people on, and when prompted to having to make food at certain times.
And what seemed like all hours.
Exactly. And this is the stuff where it's like, I'm happy to be a Big Brother fan, but I'm also, when we see segments like this, I'm also embarrassed to be a Big Brother fan. It's a complicated show about social bonds, and then you see stuff like this. It's like, you got to believe me. But you see him just throughout the day being told to like make different hors d'oeuvres and stuff. And what was not shown on the live feeds, and again, was like irking me more with Mickey. She was like talking about how like horrible those are. It's how
Oh,
it's like totally bad and classless. Those things, like I don't know why people like them. And I'm like, okay, Mickey, calm down.
yeah.
A lot of Mickey and Morgan's like mean girlness were coming out this week. But again, this was like Mickey's reign of terror just slowly starting. And also to note prior to this, and is again why Keanu was going to be in big danger tonight. Rachel has a conversation with Kelly and Keanu about the Heavy Hitters Alliance.
Mm.
And basically it's like, look, you guys could be in trouble here. We need to like see Vince and Zach, Morgan and Mickey as bigger threats. And Keanu tells Vince about all of that. And which led to a whole string of events, which led to essentially Mickey and Morgan being anti Rachel at this point moving forward, which is just wild. And because as we see in a later segment, we have Zach and Rachel working together to rob a bank and get pelted with just blue paint left and right.
That
Whenever
was
they get,
hilarious, but my thoughts were like, because I didn't know they for sure got to win the $10,000. I was like, how many chances are these people getting here?
yeah, unfortunately, this was just straight up punishment. No money reward here.
Yeah.
And from what, and this was not shown on the live feeds at all. A lot of people were very upset with this, myself included. We're like, what is going on? Why can't we see this? A lot of people were speculating that this was going to be for the Big Brother Friday show thing that they do, which I tried watching. It is not good. I love Taylor Hale. I love her as a winner. I love her as a person. I
Mm.
just can't with that show. It's not good. So a lot of people were expecting that this was going to be clips that was going to be on that, which it wasn't. Thankfully, there. But yeah, basically that whole night though, we missed a lot of game talk between her and Zach, and apparently Zach was like pro Rachel essentially until he found out about the heavy hitters reveal thing. So whatever that was said out there, we don't know what's what, but something definitely happened to have Zach change his mind on Rachel.
Yeah.
But yeah, like literally throughout the night, they're just like trying to get bags of money and hope that they got the right ones. And it took till 5 in the morning where they literally got it. And literally the first thing that we see in the morning when Zach comes in to literally wash himself off of everything, Morgan's right next to him in the shower talking to him and just like basically like trying to push like, well, you could have chose me instead of Rachel. Like I don't know why you picked her, you know? Like I mean, you could have picked me. Like I would have been nice with you. You know, it's it's just like Morgan like really showing herself that she's into Zach, and just like Zach's like I am sorry, I'm sorry. And again, so much of like Morgan and Zach talks like there was a conversation with Zach and Morgan on the hammock that was like red flag central to Zach that he should have used his power,
Yeah.
especially with multiple conversations he had with Ashley, multiple conversations he had with other people, where he's just like, I think I'm fine. Where all of us are just like, how are you not doing this? Um, but yeah, and then following after that, we then get to then see yeah, the big conversation of the night that led to the big fight between Rachel and Morgan, where Ashley tells a conversation between Rachel and Will that Mickey and Morgan were telling her that they want Rachel to be first in jury, that they want to like take her as far as that and then cut her right then and there.
Yep.
Now, some history on this. For Rachel's first season, she was first juror.
Mm.
She knows what it's like to be a first juror. It is a rough experience,
Yeah.
especially for Big Brother because it's a weekly show. So it is like months in the jury house.
Oh,
Yeah. Not good.
no.
And this is now a Rachel who is a mother of two, and the to have people like saying like I want you first in jury, I want to take you as far as first juror, like there's a reason why she was very upset with this. There's a reason why she was not happy with how
Yeah.
this was done. And I am 100% team Rachel on this. They did not show it well in the edit that this is really something that is more personable to Rachel and why she was very upset on this matter. And when we get to Morgan and Rachel in the pantry, Rachel basically goes off on Morgan. And it's
Yep.
just like, how dare you disrespect me? How you need to put a crown on my name, which I've never heard of that term before, but I will be using it now because that is perfect right there. And a rare moment in Big Brother history, Rachel wins a fight. You know you're bad at the social game if you lose a argument to Rachel. Because as shown in earlier parts of the season with Keanu irking Rachel, he kept seeing clips of her getting destroyed by people yelling at her in fights that she lost. And the fact that Morgan could not handle herself against Rachel tells you all you need to know about Morgan as a player and as a social player handling that situation. And from that moment on, and they didn't show it in the episodes, but it's like Morgan went to Mickey on this, and basically at that point on, Morgan and Mickey are now 100% anti Rachel. So bad to the point where Mickey last night was like, I'm going to make grilled cheese sandwiches for everyone except for Rachel and then eat it in front of her, which he did. And I'm just like, what kind of pettiness are we doing here? And then Mickey also goes beyond the game and talks trash about her, her husband, and her kids, which I'm just like,
Which now that you compared it earlier and said this cast is like Gabon, I'm just having flashbacks to Randy and
Corinne.
Sugar over a cookie.
Oh my god, yeah, the cookie. I'm also thinking of like imagine like Corinne just like telling
Yeah,
off Sugar. It's just like it's giving off those vibes. And like
yeah,
Rachel is also just like has no love lost for them either. Because like later this week, you see like in the workout room, Mickey and Morgan like just like going on the treadmill stuff together, and Rachel just goes in between them, and she's just like working out. And like Morgan's like asking her like, "Do you think maybe do you want to switch? I think you're better suited for this one." She's like, "No, I'm good."
that's great.
And then yesterday, when she was working out with Mickey, Mickey left the room and she was like saying like, "Oh, I'll talk to you later." And then she's like looks up to the camera and just says, "I know, I hate her too." It's like I will always be a fan of Rachel. I will always
Yeah,
be Team Rachel. She's just good content 100% of the time. Um, and yeah, so basically after that, we get like Rachel going to Kat, telling her about the conversations she had with Morgan about her wanting to target Riley and her, where she then talks to Ava, and then we're considering about wanting to use the veto. Ultimately, doesn't use it. Zach stupidly doesn't use his idol essentially to keep himself get him off the block. And we go into tonight's episode with Keanu, Vince, and Zach as the final noms competing into the Big Brother blockbuster competition, and with one going home. Again, a comedy of errors going into tonight's episode, and I'm just baffled. Like, even if Ava had the perfect HOH, someone was still making mistakes left and right this week.
yeah,
The chagrin of their own game. And that could like bring me into like what was happening last night going into today prior to the episode. Last night, Mickey and actually the past few days, Mickey has been going on a tirade to essentially not only discredit Rachel at every turn, but also try to get Ashley and Ava away from Rachel. She is trying to pull all of her allies away from Rachel. And it is to a point where she's then trying to push her opinions onto people, trying to push her agendas of you need to do this, you need to do this, and this. And it has come to a point where she was using M&Ms to show the numbers and all the things around the house of who's with who and what and what. And it's just like to a point where I feel at this point, Mickey might have inadvertently lost Riley, lost Kat, lost Ava, lost Will, lost Ashley, lost Keanu, lost Kelly, lost a lot of people in the house and are looking her different and are seeing her as a potential target going into next week. It is
yeah.
totally dictatorship. She has just gone all off hinge, and it's just like gone to a point where she is really, really trying to push her agenda. And as you saw tonight on the episode, Mickey taking it the hardest that they had to vote out Zach because she was really, really wanting to keep him. And prior to tonight, Zach also told Mickey about his power. And it's just like, oh my God, it was wild. And again, leading up to tonight, there was a likely chance it could have been a tie vote. Like, it was looking like the votes were going to be Catherine, Riley, Keanu, Kelly, and Lauren for
Yeah.
Zach. And then the other five going for Vince. from what we gathered from the live feeds, in that scenario, Ava was going to vote out Zach. We even heard her whispering to him, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." So it was like she was definitely going to vote out Zach in that scenario. And if Keanu was in any of those scenarios and it was it was a tiebreaker, she promised Keanu that she would keep him. So it's been a very interesting few days with that. And then speaking of Keanu, and it's why I am very much like I want to like you, but then you do stuff like this. He told Rachel, and he told Vince this earlier this week in the Vito episode as well. I will throw the competition for Vince to win. And he was telling this to Rachel earlier today, and she basically was just like, "No, you are an effing idiot. Do not do
That's how
this."
Keanu walks straight out the door.
Exactly. She was telling him, "You are not doing this. You are not going to do that at all." And he's just like, "Well, what if I did this? Like, what if I was like going to throw it, but only for Vince?" And she's like, "No, you are going to go home." And he's just like, "No,
Yeah.
I got the votes. I got the votes." And it's like, "No, you do not." And again, it's just like, Keanu, I want
And I
to
mean,
like you.
that was live. If Keanu did throw that competition, we would probably still be watching the show and not recording this podcast because neither Zach nor Vince were anywhere close to being done when Keanu finished it.
Literally, that competition was like, I don't know if everyone is throwing or what, but Zach also did mention though that he was thinking of throwing the competition as well for Vince to win. And I'm just like, and again, these comedy of errors this week is why I'm so happy Zach is gone.
Yeah.
So now we get into tonight's episode, The Eviction. We basically start off with just like the regular banter and then seeing Ava moping about Vince potentially going, which I'm like, girl, what? She's like, I know she's saying he's your target, but it's like, someone's got to go, Ava.
Yeah.
And then we got Morgan, obviously talking about like, I don't want to break up my alliances. I hope Keanu's the one that's on the block so I can vote him out. And we then get the start of the Mictatorship edit with Ashley and Mickey talking. Ashley being concerned very much about Mickey, where we then see where she talks to Will later about, and Rachel joining in, where all of them are just like, Mickey, what's going on here? Like, what's happening to you, Mickey? And then we also get the Kelly and Riley segment again, um, where they prefer Zach or Vinny to go over Keanu. Riley, this entire week, has been very pro Keanu. He's very distrusting of Zach and Vinny at this time. A lot of people are very distrusting of them because of that Adrian vote. And that Adrian vote is going to be going for a long while, surprisingly. I
Yeah.
did not expect that vote to be that impactful, but it's definitely drawing some lines in the sand, I think, for some allies moving forward. Um, and then we got Mickey and Zach talking, Mickey telling Zach that he's in trouble. And that Zach is starting to worry that maybe he made a bad decision. Go figure. And then we follow after with like Vince's hilarious noir egg segment about him trying to gather votes. How he just says his game is scrambled, essentially. I love the camp of that all, like noir, everything, all of that in the black and white aspect. I think that was like a hilarious segment
Yeah.
for Vince. And funnily enough, tonight, it like the fact that Zach went home when there is technically kind of like a curse for people that wear costumes in the Big Brother house. Like anyone that's been on the block wearing a costume has typically left the game that
Oh,
same.
wow.
Yeah. So Keanu and Vince better count their blessings for that one there.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Because as much as I would be happy that Zach left, I would have laughed even harder seeing Vince in that egg costume talking to Julie on that stage.
That would have been great.
So after we get to see Morgan and Zach talk, and Zach telling her about his power, which again, why are you doing this now? Uh, we get to the Big Brother blockbuster comp, which I thought it was like a really fun competition. It's like one of those fun brain teaser things. I played a few of those
Yeah,
before. I saw the preview of that today. I told you and Bruce about
yeah,
it, and I really felt Keanu was going to win this because
yeah.
as a
I thought
dungeon
that right away.
master, as a dungeon master for Dungeons and Dragons, these are the types of puzzles that you would actually give to your party to like solve and everything for whatever the adventure is. So I felt like Keanu might have had this in the bag. And then watching that competition play out, I'm like, someone's got to win, right?
Yeah.
They were like, I thought like at first Zach was going so fast. I'm like, oh, Zach has this in the bag. It's over. Zach has this. And
See,
then,
I knew based on that video you showed that Keanu had it right away because Keanu did the exact same thing as Julie and got the two greens right away.
yep.
And I'm like, okay, this has to be the exact way to do it.
Yeah, you got to start small from the bottom, building up. And like,
Yeah,
and when you saw like Vince and Zach, they were trying to go for just one color in particular, and that's what pretty
yeah,
much did them in.
exactly.
So Keanu wins the competition. We get to the votes. Well, not the vote. We get to people. We get to Vince and Zach. You know, talk to everyone, give their plea. Everyone's crying. It's like Adrian's eviction part two, but I think worse. I think everyone's crying this time around,
Yeah.
except for Rachel. No dry eye from her there. She's like I'm glad one of you are leaving. But yeah, we get to the votes, and other than Rachel and Will, Zach leaves by a vote of 8-2. And I'm just like, this whole week, Zach could have been safe. He
Yeah.
could have been going into next week with the numbers on his side. He would have Mickey. He would have Morgan. Well, maybe Morgan. Maybe she might have been out. I don't know. But either way, he'd have more numbers.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, bro. And I'm so happy. When Julie was talking to Zach, she smacks him in the head with her cue
That
card
was great.
because there was a similar incident like this way back in Big Brother 2. A known player by the name of Marcellus, who had the power of veto and decided to not use it while on the block. And he was
Oh,
voted out that same week. And
yeah,
Julie did
that'll
the
do
same thing to him.
it. So while you bring her up, fun Julie story here. Um, because I obviously, like I said, only started watching this season
Mm-hmm.
right before Big Brother 8. So that would have, I think that was 2007 if I looked it up.
Yes.
Um, I was on a trip with my high school music program. And on the corner of Fifth Avenue and Central Park, I met Julie and didn't know who she was.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it was funny to see her on TV and would be like, wait, I think I know this lady.
That's hilarious. You got your Big Brother experience without even knowing it.
Yeah. I mean, there were quite a few kids in our high school band who watched the show and
Okay.
therefore had a whole trip divert so they could go and get pictures and stuff. But so it was so both shows I've got into recently, I've turned on now and found someone that I'm like, I met you a long time ago and didn't know. Julie in the case of Big Brother and getting into the challenge when Michelle came over, I was just like, flick it on, see Derek Chavez and John A. And I'm like, oh, the real world Cancun. I was one of those high school kids that was drinking too much in the background of that show.
That's amazing.
And they were staff. And now I'm watching the challenge and there they are 10 years later.
That's amazing. Oh my God. Well, you got your fill of your reality TV meetups without even
Yeah.
intentionally going for it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So following up after this, I do weekly polls that I've been posting online,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be like reading this off with you too, because like I want to have your opinions on this as
Sure.
well. So first question I always ask is, who is your favorite player?
Who is my favorite player so far? That is a great question. At this point, I'm going to lean towards saying Will.
Okay.
Um, like I said, I haven't watched live, so I'm getting a bit different impressions. But um, no, I really like his social game so far. What he's bringing to the show.
Agreed. He's playing pretty strong.
Yeah,
Um, and from what I got from my poll results, no surprise, Rachel was number one.
yeah, that would do it.
But on the opposite end of that, who is your least favorite player?
Least favorite player. Ooh, that's a great question. Let me think about that for a bit.
Yeah, that's no problem. Um, from what I got from my poll results, no surprise, the dictatorship has led to Mickey to being everyone's least favorite player this week.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would say in the most recent episode, she's probably gone there. So yeah,
Yeah. And
that's a
then,
good decision. I
then
have to stick with it.
yep. And then following after that, rank the players from best to worst. So obviously I don't want you to rank everyone like from that because like we do we're gonna do that at the end anyway. So I don't know if you
Yeah,
want to do that, but I
sure.
was gonna say, who do you think the fans voted for as their top person? Like their
As
top three people.
top three people right now, Rachel, Will, Ava.
Bam, bam, bam. Yep.
Oh, really?
Rachel number one, Ava number two, Will number three.
Okay.
And then who is on the bottom of three of that cast?
Ashley, Mickey, Riley.
You got two of the three.
Okay.
So Mickey, 100% on the bottom. Riley, second from the bottom. Third from the bottom, Morgan.
Mm,
Yeah, a lot of people are still not happy with Mickey and Morgan and with what Riley's doing. A lot of people don't like that
makes sense.
either.
Yeah.
My next question was: are you satisfied with Ava's final nominations? And majority of them all said yes.
Yeah,
Like
I would
no
agree with
no
that.
shock.
Yeah.
This was the 100% the best week. It could have been 100. It would have been a little bit better if it wasn't Keanu as the final nominee instead Morgan. But with how everything went tonight, it still worked out. So
Yeah.
my next question was that did Zach make the right choice in not using his power?
No.
Majority said no. We
I
had a
mean,
few
you would have to have not watched to say yes.
we had a few yeses, and I feel like that was just trolling. I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah, I would anticipate that. I mean, sometimes with polls, you get some weird results.
Yep. My next question.
I'll always remember when things like that come up that I was scrutineering a student election and it's like, vote for six candidates in the same faculty. I literally see 100 ballots with people who voted for two candidates in my school who both hate each other. And I'm like, thanks for telling me you know nothing about this election.
Oh lordy. My next question was, who do you believe is going home this week? Who do you think was picked the most for this one?
Who I believe is going home this week, so like the week coming
Like,
up.
no, like what everyone was like assuming who was going home tonight.
Oh, Keanu.
Yep, majority of people said Keanu was the one that was going to be going home tonight, with Zach being the second option.
Mm-hmm.
And then rate the episodes this week from 1 to 10. What would you rank this week?
8.
A lot of people were putting this at a 9, actually.
Okay,
A lot of
nice.
people liked the edit. A lot of people liked, how the show was going with it. There's obviously a few issues, but I think that I would put that as a 9. I think this was like the best week for the episode so
Yeah,
far. And then rate the live feeds this week. Um, so
I'll let you tell me what that would
yeah,
be. I haven't seen any.
yeah.
The only
So
what I see from the live feeds, I get a very little bit of it, but it's all like clips from the live feeds that are noteworthy enough that people post them to Facebook.
yeah, what we got from it was a good 7. And I
Okay.
think the reason why is because there was a lot of feed cuts this week, and we did not get to see the Rachel Zach punishment together. So there's a lot of issue with that as well. So I think that's why
Mm,
they gave it a 7. But what
makes
saved it, I
sense.
think, was the Keanu and Vince punishments. So to end this off, every week I give my rankings of its cast, and for week 5 rankings, um, obviously starting off from the bottom with 13, I have Zach because he was
Yeah.
evicted, and not even that, like even if he wasn't evicted, he played so horribly this week, and he went from such a front runner position to
Well,
pre-jerk because
yeah,
he got so greedy with his power.
that's it.
It was just so bad. At number 12, who would you put there?
Number 12, Mickey.
Nikki? Um, I have Keanu right now.
Okay.
Keanu, if he had not won that blockbuster tonight, he would have gone home.
Yeah, true.
And he's still under the impression that he knows more than what he says in the house. I feel like he needs a reality check, but I feel like it's only going to happen if Vince leaves.
Makes sense.
So right now, what would you put at 11?
That's where I'd go Keanu.
Okay. For 11, I have Rachel.
Okay.
Rachel has fallen from graces a lot because her fight with Morgan has really had Mickey on a tirade, as
Hmm.
along with Morgan turning people against Rachel. It's not really working, but she still has people like Vince coming after her. Kelly still is apprehensive of her. Keanu's still saying a lot of stuff about her, even though he's wanting to work with her. Lauren and Kat are still just like iffy with her. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff with Rachel right now that I'm not happy with. And it's just like she's in a very awkward position where it's just like, who knows if she's going to be the intended target this week because Mickey and
True.
Morgan are really trying to push for her to go.
Yeah.
So at the number 10 spot, who do you have?
Morgan.
Morgan? I have Kelly.
Mm.
Kelly, I think she had a more positive week this week,
Yeah.
but that's only because she wasn't nominated.
Yeah.
The bar
For
was
the first
low
time.
for Kelly. And the fact that she even wasn't on the block, she did nothing this whole week to help her game. The only people that she was really talking to was like Rachel, Keanu, and other people on and off. But even then, Kelly's still like, I don't know, I still don't trust Rachel to Keanu. And it's just like, Kelly, you got to trust someone in this game. You have to,
Yeah.
branch out. And she is not branching out at all. And I feel
You're right.
like there is a chance that she could still likely be like a pawn at any point.
Yeah.
So number 9, who would you put?
Kelly.
Kelly? 9, I got Mickey.
Okay.
Uh, Mickey has had some positives this week. She has some numbers gained with her, but the dictatorship has had a lot of people apprehensive of her and even lost some allies in the process.
Yeah.
There is a good chance if she is on the block and if she is next to a Morgan, it can go 50-50. But I feel like
Yeah.
some people might lean more into Mickey because of the Ginny blindside.
Right.
So following after that at 8, who do you have?
Rachel.
Rachel? Okay. 8, I have Morgan. And the reason why I have Morgan, I feel
So we're similar, just kind
sort
of
of like,
a bit.
yeah, a little,
A couple
like,
spots here and there.
yeah, we got our bottoms close together. It's just like in different
Yeah.
orders. Morgan, I think, has some potential to do well. I just feel that she's very much playing an emotional game. She's very much being controlled by certain people like Mickey or Vince to whatever do whatever in the game. However, if she was like nominated next to someone like Mickey or Vince, I can see a scenario where she would likely survive over them. Vince could go 50-50 though. More so she survived on Mickey, but
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is Morgan I can see as a target for a lot of these players moving forward to next week. So she's likely going to be on the block soon
Yeah.
compared to some others. So at number 7, who would you have?
Riley.
Riley? 7, I have Ashley.
Mm.
Like Ashley is still like not trusted well by a lot of people in the house.
Yeah.
They still talk a lot of trash about her. That she had a rough first start and she's just like slowly gaining some ground. But it's just like every time people just try to keep her down every single time, and it's only a matter of time where I fear she's just like going to be an intended target. And even if she's nominated next to someone like Rachel, I think they would take her out over Rachel.
Makes sense.
Um, So at 6, who would you have?
That's where I had Ashley.
At 6, I have Riley.
Okay. This is funny.
Riley, I feel he has not much of a game to play. He's still really just like playing for Catherine.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, as toxic as he is, a lot of people in the house love him. A lot of Jimmy's interviews, he said, "Oh, I did not expect people to hate Riley as much. We've all loved Riley." And I think the reason is that not many people talk to Riley. Riley and Catherine are together most of the time. So they kind of pair those two up. And because of that, they don't get much out of Riley, but they don't see the bad. They see just like, oh, it's just a showmancer.
Yeah.
So he's in a position where it's good, but I also see where it's like if he's like a final nom against Catherine, he's going to fall on his sword 100% for her. He's going to tell the
Yeah.
house just vote me out over her. Where I'm just like, by all means. So in our top 5, who are we starting off with for you?
Lauren.
Okay, we're on one. I also said Lauren. I think Lauren is in a good position right now. Everyone has basically forgot her HOH. She's in such the background and stuff. Had the crazy turn events happen where Vince and Zach had the veto used on one of them, Zach uses power on the other. Lauren would have been on the block, but next to Keanu or Kat, she still would have been safe.
Yeah.
So I think she's in a good position there. I just fear that she is going to be more pawn fodder potential in the near future.
Yeah.
So at number 4, who do we have?
Vince.
I have Kat. I think Kat has had probably one of her best weeks in the game so far.
Yeah.
I feel like her getting that veto has really helped gain some traction in the house. Some people have been talking game to her. She's been talking to certain like games with like Ava and Rachel. I feel she has good potential. I just
Yeah.
don't think she did too much of it. But maybe if she were to win the next HOH, or just like depending on someone who she's working with wins HOH, I think she'll be in a good position compared to everyone else moving forward. So starting off our top 3.
I'm guessing the same thing might happen, but I'm going Catherine here.
I put down Ava.
Oh, that's a surprise to me.
So Ava to me, she has probably one of the best HOHs. She's done very well with who she was targeting. That being said, she did not use her HOH to her fullest. She did not hunker down any alliances. She did not hunker down much. She was very much sleeping this entire week. Everyone basically said this was Mickey's HOH.
Yeah.
And it very much disregarded everything that she did this week. And
Makes
on
sense.
one end, it's good because it doesn't put much of a target on her. On the other, it really does not put her in a good light with the house moving forward down the line. They see her as more of a passive player than an active player. And with some of the comments that were said this week by some of the guys, a lot of people are seeing that. So
Yeah.
I had to bump her down a little there. Still in a good spot, but yeah. And
Yeah.
then our number 2
Is Ava.
Yep. For me, I have Will at number
Hmm.
2. Will, again, he's got strong bonds. He's got his hand in a lot of people's pockets. But just like Ava, he has not put down his foot for any alliances yet. And I
Yeah.
think that's my biggest problem with Will. My biggest problem with Ava. Just my biggest problem with a lot of players in this house. They're not
Yeah.
solidifying any of these bonds. And they're really just taking on a passive role in this game. And it's only going to be working for so long. Like,
Exactly.
he's in a strong spot. I just need him to work that strong spot.
And I guess the interesting thing here from that is it kind of, even though we're giving our rankings, gives over the next couple of weeks anyone really a chance to go all the way to number 1.
I mean, look at Zach. Like he went
Yeah.
from the top spot to the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
Like literally last week I had Zach as my number 1. And then to go from that to this, like anything can happen. So I assume your number 1 is then Will, and mine is
yeah.
Vince.
Interesting. Nice.
I have Vince at number 1 because this really should have been the night Vince should have gone home. Vince has a lot of sway in this house. He has Keanu giving him information left and right. He has Lauren giving him information left and right. He has Morgan, Mickey, all these people giving him information. He is in a position where, yeah, he could be nominated, but he's not going to be the target. Him
Yeah,
sitting next to Mickey, Mickey goes. Him sitting next to Morgan, Morgan goes. He
yeah,
is in a scenario where I think he's going to be safe for a long while, unless someone like a Rachel wins HOH and has to have him nominated next to someone to cause an ultimatum. So, like someone like, let's say, Riley, for example, she might have more sway there where it's like Kat and other people would then have to
yeah,
then look more at Vince rather than Riley. But
exactly.
who knows how it's going to go? But I think he's in a good position right now. I won't say it's the best position, but compared to everyone else right now, he has the most win equity and the most control for what he can do. And him in that egg costume and being so sullen this week really saved him from being the boot. He was the safest person going into the eviction tonight, no matter
Yeah,
who he was sitting next to. So for that,
despite that he thought he was going home, no matter what.
again, the Eeyore of this cat, the Nicole Franzel. Like
Yeah.
it is just how it is. But that's this week in Big Brother. Brett, I'm so happy to have you on the show this
Thank
week.
you for inviting me. I was so happy to be here.
I hope to have you on again at a later point this season. Hopefully have Bruce on at a later point. Hopefully maybe like
Absolutely.
try to maybe do a finale week when all of us together
That would
potentially.
be great.
But yep, my name
Finale should be October, I guess.
somewhere around that time. It's usually
Yeah,
when
I'll be
Survivor
here.
starts.
Okay, so yeah, I'll be here. I was
Yeah.
kind of playing in my head like, am I in the country? But no, it's not that long.
Yeah. So at the very least, my name is Kyle Dorr. You are
My
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 co-host
name's
tonight,
Brett
Brett
Parnell.
Parnell, and I appreciate you for joining me this week. Hopefully, every one of you enjoyed listening to BB Brains, and I will see you again next week.